Hello, this is me, Brian. This morning, we're making a new fender. This is the one I started with. And you notice, right, it kind of curves in. And this side's straight, but it curves in here. Alright, now, originally, this fender fit on the side of the little lawnmower tractor, and this curved in, and the other side curved in too, so it, kind of like made it cool on. Now, I knew this might be a problem when I first started with this fender, but I thought maybe, as you can see with all these different marks, I could get a different angle out of it. But because this one is, is curved in like 3.5, 4 degrees, right? There's no way that I could get it even, right? You know what I'm saying? So, and I cut it a few different times. You know what I'm saying? Trying to make it that way. I even tried mounting it crooked, right? See if it would straighten out, but that didn't work. So the first fender didn't work. Now the second one, was an actual fender. Now this one, the one I'm working on now, this is the floorboard between the front fender and the rear fender, right, on the little lawnmower tractor. Now this one, originally, was two pieces, it was one solid piece, right? I cut it right in half, and I cut this end off, I cut the overhang off. Right, and I left this part right here like this, see, because I'm going to cut here and here, flatten these out, you know what I'm saying, and use that as an extra mounting point on the electrical pan, because that's where this part's going to mount to the pan right here, right, and then it's going to slide in, right, and as you see, all the holes line right up. Can't get better than that. Woo-hoo. Right, so what I'm doing here is I'm checking to make sure that it's going to fit right. See, because I have 3 different adjustments here. I have 3 different lengths. And then I can make it I can make it. The shortest one is right here, then the middle one, then the long one. And I think I'm going to do with the middle one, because the middle one puts it. See, that's the short one. A little bit longer, middle one. Now the end of the fender sticks out above the seat rail right here. See, I think that's the one I'm going to go with right there. See, that's about what it's going to look like. Right there. Now, I'm debating, see, because right here, see the end of the fender, the line's cut right here behind the shock, and it leaves this gap right here. Right, and you can just barely see the top part of the fender right here, which is kind of good, you know what I'm saying? Because I don't want anything hanging down right here, blocking anything out. Because I'm probably gonna have a different pair of shocks. And I'm just leaving these on here so I can get it all designed so I can get the tire clearance from the fender right, guys. So that's where we are today. So what I'm gonna go do right now is I'm gonna, okay, you got it where we want it. Put it straight across here. Put it straight across here. Right, fits in just right. And there's a little right here on this side. Right, just gotta take the hammer and punch and just knock it down. Right, and then it fits just right. Right, okay, the 4 bolts in the sand probably gonna stay. Right, but I am gonna weld it together. Right, and it's the right length, it's the right height, it's got the right angle to it for me. Right, so, that's where we're going to go now. Drilling the holes for the upper fender bracket right now. Right. Let's hope the battery lasts. When all else fails, put it on screw and switch it into low gear. Alright, so there are the 2 fender bracket holes for the upper fender bracket. Okay, so this bracket right here, I welded it in for the original fender. The original fender was more flat, remember? That's the look we're going after. Right, now the reason why right? I bolted it together the way I did, and the way I cut it the way I did, right, was so that the top piece that overlapped, right, would butt up right against the edge of this bracket. And I drilled the 2 holes, right, in the flat side, the single side, right, so I can mount mount it right here. But you notice we got this stinger angle. Not what I'm going for. I'm going for the flat angle. So what we're doing now, right, is I marked a line across the front right here. Right, I'm going to go, just take it apart. It's like about 10th time I'm taking it apart. Take it apart, I'm going to put this piece in the vise and I'm going to bend it. Right, so we're going to get the right angle so that this part of the fender lays flat. And it's going to be about that high up the top of the fender. So it counts for this movement of suspension. Right, right, see the 2 holes that are drilled right here line right up. So we put 2 bolts in there, put the bolts in there. See 2 here. Right, and then put all these ones back. It doesn't really matter because they're going to be welded together anyway. But this is just for the bolts are just for the aesthetic, right? And then we'll have achieve the look that I'm looking for, right? And then once all that's done, then I'll probably sand it all down and paint it primer, and then we'll go from there. All right, but right now I'm gonna take it back apart, right? And so I can bend this piece right here. Okay, now here's a trick out there a long time ago. My grandfather taught me this one. When you're bending metal, and you're bending, and you're using the vise, which is, if you don't have a pipe bender or a press brake, the vise is, if you can press brake. Especially if you're, trying to bend a piece of metal that's wider than the jaws of the vise. As my grandfather taught me this. You take a good piece of straight and flat metal with a good square edge, right? You mark your line, you line it all up. You get both pieces of metal, level, right? And same with the top of the jaws right there. That way when you bend it, it's going to bend all of it. It's not going to bend the middle part and buck it up. Right? Yeah, I ain't the greatest welder in the world. Okay. I only got a couple of bolts holding it in right now, 3. Right? And see how it's drooping to this side. Right? With all the jiggling, and see that this is the part that the big guys, big timer bike builder dudes never show you. It's taking me the better part of the day just to get the fender to this point right here. Right? Now, with all that jiggling and jambling and pounding and bending and everything else, you notice that right here, right, the bracket is like that, concave, I believe is the term, right? See, so now, in order to bring this end up, so you can see how it's loose, well, in order to bring this end up, I got to take the fender back off, and I got to pound it, from right here in the center, pound it up and flatten it out so that this thing fits flat. Because I made this on purpose, right, for this bracket to fit into this gap right here. All right, I'll show you here in a minute, but right now I got to take it back off. Okay. I know it's kind of hard to see, but we're dealing right here. All right, so originally, with the first fender, when I welded this bracket on, it was flat and it was straight across, right? But because of the way the curve of the fender, I had to bend it, I had to tilt it forward, right? Now, in the process of making the second fender, I had to tilt it back flat because I made this groove, I put it together on purpose and I bent it right here, then I hammered this part flat, see? Right, so, that this bracket would fit right there in the groove. Right? See? But now, it's because I didn't get the edges, because you see how it's bowed, I didn't get the edges flat, and I used the level right here to determine which way I need to bend it. I need to bend this one in, this end down. Right, so, you take your handy dandy metal bender tool right here, do it this way. Alright? Get a good grip. Bend it a little. Just a little. Oh, I broke it. Yeah, that's okay because we can always weld it back on. That's about all we need right there. Right here in the middle. Right here. It's a little high. Check the magic bubble. All I gotta do is just weld it back on right here, and it'll be all right. Okay, there it is right here. I got the pan welded on, got it all ground down, looking really nice. Right, got all the welds smooth as I could possibly get them. I re-welded the bracket that broke. I'm saying it ain't breaking no more. Both sides, we did on both sides. Welded the pan here, blended it in with the frame, right here, blended with the frame. All the blending's done. I still need to deal with the frame where I cut it right here, but that's the next stage coming. Now, let's see how I made this bracket right here. Right. Underneath. So now the only part of the inner fender that you can see, right, is this part right here. You only see this much of it. See, I kind of, you know, that was the goal of the angle right there, was to not be able to see the fender in front of the shock. It's perfectly lined up in between the shocks. See, I got this gap right here, same gap right here. Right, it's perfectly straight and level. Right, that's what I wanted. It's bolted on here. It's going to be bolted on here. I'm going to cut these two flaps, hang them down. Alright, put another bolt. These two here. Alright, that's it. Final fabrication right there. Now, probably going to use these two holes right here to mount the tail light assembly, or license plate, or whatever, something like that. Somehow configuration. Well, I'll figure that out later. Alright. The next project, the next part of the frame is to figure out what to do with this right here. I got a couple of ideas. Right? Oh man. You know, like stick a bolt in, weld the bolt on right there. Make it cool enough. I came up with this idea yesterday of putting some spikes around. So I'm thinking about putting a couple of pointy somethings right here to fill in these two holes, because I got my sissy bar idea, but I need to switch the air bottles around on the settling torch so I can heat it up and bend it. But anyway, this is right here. This is fabricating a fender and an electrical pan for an XS 650 bobber project. Thank you. Please like and subscribe to this video if you think it's worth somebody else, you know, getting something out of it. Thank you.